Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning, and I'm a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, my tag partner, my brother of arms, bike gang member, all the adjectives.
Everything you can do as a team. Dance.
Lover of White Sox.
Both the team and the garment.
The garment. So, even he was a lover of Black Sox back in the 20s, I believe.
In the 20s.
In the 20s.
You know, Charlie Sheen was one?
Yes, exactly. in that era as well.
John Cusack, I think, was there.
In a different universe, Ray Liotta would probably be involved.
He was there, too. I don't know who was it on the Black Sox. Hey, Jake, how are you?
Zane Riley, Zane, how are we doing? We are rejoined by a gentleman who was on some of our earlier episodes, comedian Eik Eikenberry. Eik, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me back.
I appreciate you coming back. And like I said, part of the deal was like, I'll give you a shorter show to watch today. It's always the nice caveat. Last time we obviously asked you what your exposure was to pro wrestling, but anytime we get a returning guest, I always like to ask them, since the time when I made you do this podcast last, did you happen to see any pro wrestling? Did the yearning to have more pro wrestling in your life come up? Or, have you seen any wrestling since the last time we talked?
Have I seen any wrestling? No. I have done a few shows with Hacksaw Jim Duggan in that time, so I feel like I'm pretty much an expert at this point.
Because everybody knows how much of a talker he was. Everybody knows how great he was at cutting promos. And just, if there's anybody you were like, you know what, I wish I could hear more talking from Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
What does he talk about?
It's a lot of Q&A, a lot of, who was on what, when, sort of questions.
What, are we talking about the Black Sox again?
I don't remember if any socks of any color were brought up.
Yeah, he's racist, so.
Wrestled for Bill Watts.
Yeah.
And
the biggest hands that I've ever been around.
He does have massive hands.
Enormous hands.
He does.
Very intimidating.
And he wrestles the same exact match every single time.
I've had it. I've had that match. Yeah, you were there.
Ike even did the match. Like, he even knows the match. And he just did a stand-up routine.
It's all punching.
It actually is.
You did wrestle him.
You did wrestle.
We squared off a little bit in the green room.
And then you powdered outside when he said, "Oh, come back in, he gives you a free shot."
Clothesline, 3-point stance.
Afterward, he tried to sell me some lumber. It was very awkward.
This all makes sense. This all tracks.
Absolutely. A little 6-inch piece of lumber that he signed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, actually, my favorite story about Hacksaw Jim Duggan, since we're still on a tangent of him, is one time he got flown in, and the promoter did not get him a 2x4 to take to the ring.
Oh, no.
So Hacksaw Jim Duggan came to the ring that night with a broomstick.
Close enough.
And just justified it with a promo. And just...
on.
This is all I found. In the back, this is my traveling version of my 2x4.
They couldn't pay that 2x4's trans, so...
But is that your only exposure, Ike?
Actually, after the last one we did, I went through and watched the YouTube clips that kept popping up. If you liked 1988 SummerSlam or whatever, you'll also enjoy. I watched 3 or 4 more of those. It's addicting, man.
It's addicting.
You'd be the first person to say yes.
I believe what you watched was the Beach Brawl by WWF, the Herb Abrams thing, and I think we were going to bring you back and also discuss the Blackjack Brawl. That's the next one we're going to bring you back from.
Okay.
You accidentally watched that one, if I'm not correct.
I watched like 4 or 5 of them. I got into it one night.
Herb, if you're still alive, and I know you're not.
There's still a guy out here.
There's still a guy out here that's begging for some UWF stuff.
Maybe that's what we need to get into next, Jake.
Well, you should see what I'm going through right now. I'm converting over a bunch of Betamax masters of this promotion called it was IWA, but it's not the IWA that
not that
knows.
One?
No, not that one, and not that other one, and not that other one.
Oh.
It's a different IWA.
Is that one 4th one down the chain?
Yeah, exactly. It's probably like the 4th most mentioned IWAs out there. It's got Manny Fernandez, Terry Taylor, Derek Dukes, all kinds of wonderful wrestling stars.
You guys know.
You guys know. Kevin Von Erich's there, wrestling barefoot. But none of that is happening because we are continuing on with our exploration. What
Sure.
we call this? Our exploration for Coliseum Home
Are
videos.
reminiscing?
Reminiscing?
We saw them.
Would we reminisce about what we just saw today? Because I don't think we'd reminisce. I would.
No, not really.
Not really.
You know what this lacks?
What's like?
Funny moments.
Exactly. Which is funny because the Coliseum Home video that we saw was Funniest Moments, which was released in February 27th, 1991. I feel like there should be a question mark on the title of this.
Funniest moments?
Because the last Coliseum Home video that you and I watched on the podcast was very good.
Yeah.
It had like classic moments. And I'm sorry that you came along at what is quite
That's
possibly
the first time he's heard that one.
the worst Coliseum Home video I have ever seen before in my entire life. Like, hands down.
We'll try to make it through. That's all we can do.
Exactly.
You being the voice of positivity.
Okay. Well, we start, speaking of voice of positivity, we have Sean Mooney starting off this Coliseum Home video, which he does for quite some time. And I think we're catching him kind of in the beginning or early part of his tenure. Sometimes I like to look up these interesting people that like, hey, whatever happened to this guy? So I just Wikipedia'd Sean Mooney and found out he was actually affiliated with Major League Baseball before becoming involved in WWF. And I was just like wondering, like, oh, Major League Baseball, WWF, like, where do you go after that? Apparently being a news anchor in Tucson, Arizona for the Channel 4 affiliate. And
Logical upgrade.
And to tie it all back in, does a weekly podcast with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh.
So we brought it all back around.
Full circle.
Full circle. But he does this intro, which he did in one take, and I got to applaud him for it.
Well, you think he did it in one take.
I don't know. Did they do some sort of Birdman editing this intro? But any thoughts on Sean Mooney right at the top?
I'm excited that you said he was from Tucson because my first thought was, the local weather guy in Poughkeepsie decided he wanted to take a shot at commentating on some wrestling. So I feel like I was close to the news anchor thing.
You are very true, and actually that's how some people actually got into professional wrestling, like Lance Russell, Dave Brown. Dave Brown, who is a longtime commentator of Memphis wrestling and during its heyday and even peak, still works for the same news organization, same channel, and does the local weather even today. So they used to pull the weatherman out to do commentary on the television wrestling program in the Territory days. So you actually wouldn't be wrong on that. But that's Sean Mooney's skinny. But we start with a segment that involves Bobby the Brain Heenan and Big Boss Man. What are our thoughts on this first segment?
Fucking awesome.
It seemed to me like we started off with a very blonde middle school football coach being disciplined by an unruly mall security guard. Wearing rebel flags.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I
wanted
wanted
rise, brother.
make a point to note the first time I saw a rebel flag, it was, 6 minutes in?
Yeah. That tracks. That's early 90s wrestling. If you don't see a Confederate flag in there, you're not watching pro wrestling.
Exactly.
Even if this is a northern-based company. That just happens to pop up. Although at this time, he was, Cobb County, Georgia, so at that time I think that the rebel flag was Georgia's actual state flag.
Makes sense.
Was just the stars and the bars. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. What were your thoughts on this, Zane?
I thought it was great. I was really scared that Bobby Heenan was not wearing knee pads, was my first thought.
Oh, that freaked me out too.
But what a great promo where he just kept talking about his mother and referring to him as both a man and a woman, just so flippantly and fluidly that it didn't... It was really, if you weren't paying... I watched it with captions on, so if you weren't really paying attention, you don't get it. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was insanely good talking skills from Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Mm-hmm. But also, too, it's like, this angle would never happen in era of cell phones. Like, go to the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the landline
the phone's off the hook. Just ask her.
Yeah. She's
You'd have FaceTimed.
Yeah.
FaceTime your mom. Here's your mom.
And the thing is, too, like, who's putting in quarters in that telephone?
Yeah, keep that on.
Just keep putting quarters in to keep this line
Got a quarter guy.
Yeah. Exactly. And then how did he get his mother's number? That's another question we gotta ask.
Well, everybody's got their in case of emergency on the
Okay.
so
I can see Bobby the Brain Heenan calling up Titan Towers like, hey, what is the contact information for Big Boss Man?
Yeah. Could you not tell me Big Boss Man's contact, like point of contact for emergency and his mama?
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
definitely a mother's boy.
For sure. Well, unless he got up with Cobb County, Georgia itself. I'm like, hey, you have a prison guard there that wrestles on a regular basis. Can I get his contact info as well? So,
Just go straight to a bail bondsman.
however that works. And then he drops a ball on him at one point in time, if I'm not mistaken. So, any other thoughts about this short little segment? Short and sweet to the point?
Was that like his gimmick? The teabagging him with the ball and chain?
Well, the match was called a ball and chain match.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they were having a ball and chain match.
I missed that as well.
Okay.
Guys, you got to read the things. Captions where it's at. No, they're having a ball and chain match. That's why it was there.
Okay. Would that make sense why you'd be bringing up his mom? If that's his ball and chain, if that's his contact info? I don't know.
So much continuity I'm missing.
So many layers.
Yeah.
So basically it's saying there was more writing put in for this match than there is for an episode of Walking Dead.
Which,
Is that what we're
now,
saying?
yeah,
It was very talky.
Which, if like out of context, would be even better that he had the ball and chain. Because he's like, I just walked by it and there was one laying in the back. So like, fuck it, come on.
It was next to this phone that was off.
Yeah, don't worry, I hung that phone right up. I'm not trying to run. Nobody had quarters around. What do you mean I hung up on my mama?
That would have been the twist. I hung up on my mom. Oh! And bring it all back around. Anything to say about this segment before we move on?
It was the highlight of this entire video.
It really is downhill, and we go downhill.
It's the only funny time.
We go downhill very fucking fast because we get to a shot of Mike McGurk, WWE's first female ring announcer.
With a name like Mike McGurk.
Yeah, Mike McGurk. It says, now someone new to the WWF, which is an odd intro.
Yeah.
And then we see the Gobbledygooker,
Yeah.
which we have covered in this podcast before, which was WWF's attempt at doing the San Diego Chicken.
Okay, I need more backstory because this is the strangest
It was
thing I've
actually
ever seen.
hatched on a live pay-per-view.
Yeah, they had a big egg, and it was this big reveal, like who is in this egg. And as you discussed, there was discussion of that it possibly could have
It'll be
been
the Taker.
going to be Undertaker,
Or Ric Flair.
or Ric Flair was going to pop out of this egg and be like, "Ha! I'm in the WWF now,"
Okay.
Out of an egg.
Okay.
coming out of an egg.
I don't begin to understand, but that's fine.
No one did.
No one did.
cool.
So like, well, let's stay with the egg theme and let's hatch.
This is also around Thanksgiving.
This
That's
was
also.
Thanksgiving. Okay.
That's
Thanksgiving.
also
So-
not that it's like a definite need to know, but that might help a bit.
Yeah.
No, now it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. I totally get it.
Exactly. So they wanted something like the San Diego Chicken, but the Gobbledygooker is like the turkey version of the San Diego Chicken. So he hatched out of an egg, and he went dancing around with Mean Gene Okerlund. And I guess that's his whole thing, is just to go to the ring and dance around with whoever the ring announcer is.
And do flips was what he was supposed to do.
Yes, exactly. Which has Hector Guerrero in from the legendary Guerrero family, brother of Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero's uncle. And I find it funny that you have Mike McGurk dancing with Hector in this Gobbledygooker outfit because Mike's father was actually legally blind, which is funny because Hector is actually blind while wearing the chicken outfit because he couldn't see out of it, but he was still required to
An
do
homage.
and he was supposed to do all the flips out of there. So it's nice to know that Mike knows how to dance with a blind person.
Perfect.
So it works.
And they do it a complete second time too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
They do it with Howard Finkel.
Yeah.
They're like,
But he also gives them the same intro. Like,
Yeah.
And now we're someone new to the WWE.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
and they're just like, we're just going to keep cramming this guy down your throat.
It's got to catch on if we just keep using it.
Somebody's gonna get it.
Exactly. I'm surprised the Gobbledygooker wasn't shoved down our throats like Roman Reigns and John Cena have over the last couple of years. Like, nope, we're staying the course.
Guys,
Gobbledygooker, Gooker versus Undertaker at WrestleMania main event. Okay, we gotta keep pushing it down people's throats.
I think my favorite moment of the whole thing was the Gooker that's a fun word to say. Interacting with a kid, and the look on the kid's face seemed to say, "Oh, so this is how I die." I always thought it would be on a 4-wheeler.
This is the end.
Oh, the Gooker, you are my Pennywise.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
I didn't even know this was a thing. It is now.
Fun fact, that child hasn't slept since that day.
I am extremely blown away. So, as a foul-based mascot, what would you think its music should be?
The chicken dance?
Yes, right? They play Cotton Eye Joe the whole fucking time.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if you have the rights to the chicken dance.
Do you have the rights to Cotton Eye Joe? It's in the skating rink. It's equal ground.
Yes, that was during the era when WWF was running skating rinks.
That just blows my mind. Like, you could have just $1 more for the chicken dance. But no, we got Cotton Eye Joe. Where'd you come from? Where'd you go?
It is a very odd song.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too. It's like, well, maybe that's kind of like a Thanksgiving type theme, but there are no themes to Thanksgiving, right? Other than Allison's Restaurant. That's the only thing people play on Thanksgiving. So that would make more sense.
That was my least favorite part about the Gooker. Which I love Cotton Eye Joe, don't get me wrong. I've used it as an entrance song before because I wrestled at a skating ring once and required it. But definitely needs a chicken dance. It's a Gooker. Yeah.
I actually gobbledygookered a girl in Grand Rapids, Michigan one time, but I wouldn't have if she knew my legal name.
Yeah. Careful, Cosby. So, we got 1 or 2 listeners.
Yeah.
Definitely probably not her.
Definitely not Grand Rapids. Maybe in Flint. Maybe there's people listening in Flint. Maybe Battle Creek. I don't know.
We got Wyandotte.
Yeah.
You got some people listening to Taylor.
Yeah, some people up there. But definitely not that. Anything else to say about the Gobbledygooker that we haven't already said?
We said too much.
We've said too much.
This podcast has covered the Gobbledygooker far more than any other thing in the world.
I wonder why we have a hard time getting listeners. Like, people having hard opinions on the Gobbledygooker.
I think Hector owes us a sponsorship or something.
I think we owe Hector a sponsorship.
And it looks like the phone lines are lighting up.
We get Hector Guerrero to call in. We can get a phone so Hector Guerrero can call in. Get a landline for that. There's a landline hookup right there.
Exactly. The studio has everything we need. Speaking of everything we need, how about a tag match with Rhythm and Blues?
Hell of a segue.
We
need the rhythm and we need the blues.
I gotta get good at these things because these Coliseum videos are all over the place.
Exactly.
I've been honing my skills for the last 2 weeks.
You're going to have to watch more Sean Mooney footage.
Yes, on how to get into everything. But yeah, Rhythm and Blues. See, I only knew of WWF growing up. Like, I was completely unaware of NWA and WCW until 1995. So the existence of Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, even the Fantastics or even the Fabulous Ones, and even the Road Warriors to a point, didn't even know they existed.
A lot of those sounded like Motown artists.
They all were.
Okay.
At some point in time.
Interesting career double dip.
Exactly. They went on tour with Jackson 5 in the Chitlin Circuit.
Slide the Family Stone was there all the time.
Exactly. And J.J. Jimmy Walker was the MC on all those shows.
Naturally. Whom you've opened for.
Exactly. But so growing up, it was only WWF, so there was a time in my life where I thought that Rhythm and Blues was the third best tag team in the entire world. Like, while Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson were walking around, while Bobby Eaton was breathing and putting on great matches, I'm like, oh, no. Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, that's where tag team wrestling is. Which, by the way, this tag match is just like every tag team match in the South.
Of course.
You will never have to watch a tag match in the South ever again after watching this match.
I don't know what I'll do with all my free time then.
But Rhythm and Blues versus the Bushwhackers.
There's an insane amount of Bushwhackers on this fucking DVD, on this tape too.
I've got a feeling that they were gonna do a Bushwhackers best of, and then they're like, no, let's not.
We have entirely too many funny moments for this to be called anything else.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, or almost like, what are we gonna do? We don't want to do a best of the Bushwhackers. Nobody wants to see their matches.
Yeah.
But goddamn, those interview segments we did with Mean Gene Okerlund.
Let's do it.
In Arizona, where like Doug Stanhope drove Mean Gene Okerlund to Brisbane, Arizona, to do these intro bumpers with the Bushwhackers. This is gold. This is gold, and we have to preserve this, and it has to see the light of day.
I think it's the other way where they only had that footage and they're like, how are we going to get this out there? What if we just do an entire funny video and we put this on there as our key piece? And that's why 20 minutes of it is the Bushwhackers and then 10 more minutes is a match.
Yeah, so I don't know if the impetus of this whole thing is, oh, we have all this great Bushwhacker footage that we don't know what to do with. Well, let's just throw a bunch of other shit in here just because. But yeah, but these interview bumpers are gold.
No.
Fucking gold. We have to hang on to this. And they probably were like, oh, we're going to go ahead and make the best of. And like, hey, you get those Bushwhacker matches? No, we taped over all of them. I thought, God damn it, what are we going to do with this gold that we have?
Oh, you were serious about that?
We didn't even have film in the cameras.
No. You didn't even film those shows.
But what were your feelings on this match? This is like probably the first actual, and maybe really the only real match on this whole thing, Ike.
Well, my question was right from the beginning. Who is? I felt like when they came in Rhythm and Blues, it was two amateur Elvis impersonators with the Paul Schaefer of wrestling.
Yeah.
Who is this fellow?
The Paul Schaefer of pro wrestling would be Jimmy Hart. And he usually has like a special like airbrush jacket for each people he's tagging, but he cared so little about Rhythm and Blues. He's actually wearing the jacket that he wears when he manages the natural disasters. So like he cares that little about changing. It's all right, baby. It's all right, baby. They don't want to see natural disasters on this jacket. That's okay, baby. But yeah, he's in there, and of course Greg the Hammer Valentine. Notable Intercontinental Champion, and then just getting towards the end of his career, even though he still wrestles today, and he still looks like a zombie.
Yes. He was arguably in his prime there, and he looks like
That's
that.
Terrifying.
Arguably, okay. Like I want to believe that Greg the Hammer Valentine has wrestled for 20 years past this prime. Like, that's the envision,
and that's when he was on TV right here.
Yeah, and that's what I envisioned Greg the Hammer Valentine being. But yeah, this was like a last way to keep him out there and present and stuff like that. But Honky Tonk always did the Elvis impersonator, and actually came in as like a good guy wrestler doing the Elvis impersonator thing. And then all of a sudden it just far better as a bad guy. That it worked, and greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. So still not in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
I felt like the gist of what Rhythm and Blues were doing was sort of, man, my best friend's really getting his ass kicked, but I got to make sure my hair looks good.
Yeah, that was their whole gimmick, was a lot of messing with the hair. And I think that's all Greg the Hammer Valentine knew about music.
Was greasy hair.
Yeah, that's all I know about music, is just I mess with my hair. So
He's already pissed off he had to dye it black.
Oh yeah, I remember when we booked Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine for a convention, and we wanted them to do photo ops as Rhythm and Blues, and we said ahead of time, like, Greg, do you have a problem dyeing your hair black or putting some spray in it to make it look black? And he goes, I don't have a problem. But of course, he's a zombie. He's like, that was his yes.
I just assumed that's what it meant.
I just assumed that's what he meant. So then we get there, and you give him the cam, like, here, just spread this in your hair. It'll make you look black enough. It did not make his hair look black enough. It made it look gray.
Some moments you just can't recapture, man.
Exactly, and that was a last-ditch effort. So you won't see Greg the Hammer Valentine dyeing his hair black for photo appearances with the Blues. He'll barely wear the shades. Barely.
But he will take sweet-ass pictures with Bruce Bar Beefcake sitting in somebody's house in lounge chairs, no shirts on, with a bunch of weed everywhere. That popped up real recent.
Any other thoughts about this match before we move on?
I feel like the refs for tag team matches are literally the most distractible people on earth.
Yes.
Like, most of the strategy seems to be, hey, what's that over there? Right?
Yeah.
Is that just me?
Like,
or?
they have the...
Oh, shit, glitter.
They have, like, basically the focus of an alcoholic dad. Like, they just...
Or a goldfish.
Or a goldfish or whatever. Just, like, they're that of attentive. You
Yes,
know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
You can't... It's very hard to get there. And also, too, this tag match like took place at Madison Square Garden. This referee looks like he is the MC for like a demolition derby
Yes.
in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
He came with the building.
Like, there's a guy in Gastonia, North Carolina, who looks just like that. There's a guy who owns a furniture shop in Hickory, North Carolina,
Yeah.
who has that belt buckle right now.
It might be the same guy.
It might
It is
be.
him.
Like,
Hey, look at where that guy is right now.
there is a guy who owns a pawn shop in Georgia that looks just like this guy. But in New York City, in Madison
there.
Square Garden,
He ain't there.
he's fucking ref in this match. There are guys walking the streets in New York City that look like that. Like, in the 80s. Really. That was the most befuddling thing to me, but I must point out a very classic line by Bobby the Brain Heenan in the middle of the match, actually at the end of the match, where he says, "Moral victories put nothing in your pocket." And I feel like no truer words have ever been said. So I have to say about that, because we gotta blow on pass into our next segment, which is the blowaway diet with Buddy Rose.
The Louis
Oh,
Anderson
man.
diet plan.
Thank you for saying that. I had a feeling you were saying. I had my notes and I put a little note like, wait for Ike to say it. Because,
I take the low-hanging fruit, I guess.
well, no, but I never. That's the thing is, I've been aware of Buddy Rose for years, but I didn't realize how much he did look like Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, and I think it's only in this phase of his career that he looks so much like him, and it just makes me think like, man, maybe this is like parallel universe Louis Anderson.
Yes.
Where the Tonight Show
Sliding doors somewhere.
the Tonight Show didn't work out. He didn't get the Tonight Show. He was crushed by it. He was mortified. Howie Mandel got it, but he
Exactly.
didn't. And so
Louis gained an extra 7 pounds and changed his life.
and he took a wrong turn going to the Improv in New York, and he ended up. And Vince McMahon saw him and was like, "Come on in and wrestle. You not take a hip toss? Oh, you could take the best hip toss ever for a 300-pounder. Come on in. Make this jobber look better than he's ever looked before his entire life. Please do that." But what were your thoughts on the commercial, Zane?
Oh, man. I'd always heard of Buddy Rose, but I'd never no recollection of him. So I saw this and I thought I didn't even hear them say this was Buddy Rose himself. I just thought it was the commercial, with just some jabron. And I was like, oh, this is like just one of their guys they make fun of on the side, like they do nowadays. Like these were not nowadays, but they're the guy that in like the Attitude Era that would jump out of the cake, big fat oiled up guy. I thought it was just a character they had.
Yeah.
Nope. When the match started, I was like, oh shit, and then I was highly impressed.
Buddy Rose, former AWA Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
So
Nothing. Didn't know him.
stalwart in the Portland territory, and very good performer in the LA territory.
Like
as
Stan
well.
Lee.
Yeah, that too. Looks like that.
Not comic book Stan Lee.
Okay, I was very confused.
No, there's another guy.
I understand. There's a lot of inside baseball going on over here. So, but,
Stan Lee today.
But also too, there's I love the commercial. Like at the end, like the graphic comes up where there's this P.O. Box 12, Fat Farm, New Jersey. Like I feel like that was like the one insistent thing. Then it's like, man's like, no, make sure you put it Fat Farm in New Jersey. Yeah, because
I don't have them rolling.
New Jersey's awful. Fat Farm, New Jersey. Like I feel like that was his big contribution to that entire segment. Like all I know is Vince just wants to make sure that Fat Farm is in New Jersey. That's all I know. And of course, Misa and Vastercard, they flipped around those two letters. Clever. Very clever. That might have been the second thing that Vince insisted upon in this entire thing. Make
We'll get sued.
Misa and Vastercard. Get it? We flipped the M and the V around. And did I mention New Jersey? Ha 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 ha!
I love it there.
It was a weird time to have the first incidents of caring about trademark or copyright infringement.
Yeah, because you're only a couple years removed when they use copyrighted music, bringing people to the ring.
Yeah,
like Junkyard Dog used to come out to Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. They would use the Rocky soundtrack, Rocky 3, Eye of a Tiger for Hulk Hogan. They'd also have like all kinds of different characters come out to different. The Alan Parsons projects for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, like they used like full on copyrighted music, and then all of a sudden, like when they finally like realized what the fuck they were doing, like no, you cannot do that.
we can't put this on our Misa or Vastercard.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, you've got a $40,000 fine for this. But, well, here's my Vastercard.
Exactly.
So just run that.
This one didn't go through to anything else. Well, I've got my Misa. I see what we're doing. I don't appreciate it.
But we see a job match.
A real long job match.
Where he gives this job guy way too much, which I see why Buddy Rose didn't work out. Because he was actually making his opponents look good.
Better than he was.
Exactly, but that's like the true thing of a heel. But that's not what you do with the WWF. You just shit on somebody the whole fucking time and get yourself over and only think of yourself. But Buddy Rose being a nice individual, that's why we didn't hear too much from him. But fat shaming the fuck out of him, like
the whole time.
It was adorable that in '91, 317 pounds seemed notably obese for an American.
Which, if he went 317 pounds, I'm not fucking sitting here. He was easy 4 and some change.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you would be tipping around what Buddy Rose says he is.
Yeah. On my bad days. On I had too much to drink this weekend days, I'm what Buddy Rose says he is.
But as a joke, which you recognize him to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, the commentary in this match is just like a bunch of just YouTube comments. You know,
yes.
like, just on somebody's weight. Over and over.
This shit would not happen today. If that was a lady wrestler today,
oh
goddamn.
What do you mean? Like,
Twitter is on fire.
Look at Twitter during a
Nia Jax, yeah.
Nia Jax match. Like, everything that's said on this commentary is what people say online about Nia Jax. So, that's what we're at.
And fuck those guys.
That's how progressive we've come. We've turned our fat shaming towards women.
Yes.
We've moved away from white men. We're going to work our way down
too easy.
through women. Eventually, we're going to get to people of color. We're going to start fat shaming them.
The white man has had it too hard for so long.
Yes. So we've just moved right along. And speaking of moving right along, from white man, we're going to move to the red man in Brother Love and the Brother Love show.
At one point I was like, was fucking Tatanka there? That was a real shitty seg. Talk about racism, man.
Let's go to body shaming to like racial slurs. Brother Love show, we have Roddy Piper come out talking about he's got a dope on a rope, a different kind of a hotel, which I think is a nod to him smoking dope in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So good on him. What are your thoughts on the whole segment of Brother Love being his tidy whities and Roddy the Piper?
Roddy the Piper. How do you feel about Roddy the Piper?
Roddy the Piper?
I as much as I can get into some man-on-man bondage situation, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It falls on the uncomfortable scale.
Uncomfortable, ran on a little too long.
Yeah.
All of those things, I feel.
Yeah. Especially Piper. Especially the Piper. The Piper took forever.
After it ran on a little too long, it kept going.
Kept going, and then he kept running, and then pulling him back, and all kinds of stuff. Yes. But
Speaking of music we can't buy.
Exactly, but Brother Love was the one that was almost going to potentially get raped, not some big-breasted lady that was potentially going to get raped by the chubby guy.
Yeah, no.
It was the chubby guy that was in the threat of sexual assault.
Yes,
the one with the bigger titties.
So we've turned it around. Like I said, we're turning it all around.
That's right.
It's a more progressive time.
This is This is after he'd already done blackface. So.
Oh, okay. This is after he's done. Roddy Piper has done blackface for WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year.
Half black.
What time frame are we talking about?
87.
No, 87 was retirement.
What was it? You said WrestleMania 3?
WrestleMania 3 is 1987. That's my benchmark for everything. He wrestled Bad News, Allen.
Oh, that's right. It was Adrian Adonis that he wrestled.
Yes.
That one.
I'm trying to think. It was like a couple years later. Would have been tracking Piper. Piper wrestled Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8. 7 would have been Skydome. 6. No, 7 was Los Angeles. 6 was Skydome. 5 and 4 were Caesars, so it wasn't any one of those. I think it would have been either 6 or 7. So those are 3 years. So yeah, roughly about the time, either a year before or a year after. So yeah, does blackface and he beats up a guy doing red face. 90s wrestling, man.
It's a different time, man. Different time.
Different time. We just got in the Mean Gene Bushwhacker segments. We've kind of gone over. Is there anything else we want to say about that? About the Bushwhacker?
We better figure out something because that's the rest of it.
Was that not the Micro Machines guy that they drove out to the outhouse in the desert?
No, it was not.
That really disappoints me. Shout out to the 8 people who got that reference.
You think we have 8 viewers? Thanks, man.
Seriously.
You're the best, Ike. I felt that the matches they never cut to would have been way funnier than this entire segment.
I know. What were those like?
If we have to see a fucking 30-minute rhythm and blues match, could we just seen some rhythm and blues promos and been just as good and saw a Bushwhacker match that wasn't that match?
Yeah, like I don't know why we don't have more on this thing. Like this whole video seems haphazardly put together.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they were. Like,
we have 20 minutes to kill. Go do something.
Yeah, like this is like something that highspots.com would put out. Like very cheap
content.
Yeah, I just want like my boss would be like, just throw some shit together. These fucking dumb people will buy anything.
We've got minutes to fill.
Yeah, like that's the absurd thing about this, because like these Coliseum Home videos, like at one point in time were $20-$30. Somebody might have gotten this for their birthday, an Easter gift. Like something.
Man, what white part of town did you come from to get Easter presents?
Iowa. That's right. Those are the places that I came from.
I felt like the Bushwhackers shtick is sort of, they have some kind of palsy. Is that what's going on?
They have full body Tourette's?
Yeah, and then it all just seemed to segue into a commercial for Outback Steakhouse.
Well,
full hand eating that chicken off a fire.
Because there are no rules.
There are
only rights.
Only rights. And two Australian guys coming to my bar the other night, and I was waiting on them, and I was like, "Oh, are you guys from Australia?" Oh, yeah, you know anybody from there? Yeah, Luke and Butch. No, did not get it whatsoever.
Well,
no idea.
Well, because I believe they're New Zealanders.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't know. I
Kiwis.
figured.
They're Kiwis, and there's a bit of animosity.
I think you'd at least be like, fuck you. Well, these guys might have been New Zealanders, and in that case, I have no clue.
That's like meeting Puerto Ricans and be like, oh, I know some Puerto Ricans, and you named it Cuban.
You know the Guerreros?
yeah. The Guerreros would be like, hey, you know Yuval Romero? That's basically what you did to him.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well,
Whatever.
But yeah, famous New Zealanders. So, but yeah, they were. That's the odd thing about the Bushwhackers is they were like monster heels in like the territory system before they came to the WWF. They were like the best bad guys ever.
They were the ones who I had heard of when I was a kid. Like I distinctly remember the dirty kid in elementary school had the T-shirt.
Yeah. The dirty kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Bushwhackers, like they fit right into this WWF cartoony thing where before, when they were wrestling in the territory era, they were like bleeding every night, blood and guts, like kind of even racial a little bit. Like they were just horrendous like bad guy heels. But as soon as they get to like WWF, it's like all cartoony and goofy and licking kids' faces and just battering rams, and which is funny because both men are homosexuals, but they weren't out of the closet then. But considering knowing our views on gay people in the early 90s, if they knew that gay men were going around licking young kids' faces, like...
That's how you become gay.
Specifically by getting licked by a bushwhacker.
Well, by a gay man. It didn't really...
Oh, Jimmy Swaggart, I'm sure he said that before. If you get the saliva of a gay man on the side of your face, you will turn gay.
Yeah.
And you'll have to go to my gay conversion therapy. Just so happens to be $1,500.
All that checks out.
You know, like
but it will cure your AIDS.
It's kind of like frogs. Like if you fuck with a frog, you get a wart. It's not the same thing.
And so yeah,
you get licked by a gay man, you're gay.
Yeah.
Like vampires.
Yeah.
But like different.
Yeah, I think Jim Baker would agree.
Yeah,
with that.
I'm sure he would.
I'm sure he would.
Benny Hinn, he's all of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's
Write that down as science, guys.
And even Joel Osteen, I'm sure he thinks that.
Oh, he definitely thinks. He thinks, sure.
So, but yeah, so Bushwhackers, no best of.
The battering ram. Explain to me why that would hurt more than just one person running into you.
Because there's two.
Glorious in its simplicity, I guess.
Maybe he's such a gay.
The force of two is stronger than one. Do we have to do simpler?
I'm terrible at math.
There's some paper over here. I guess I could mathematically write it down for you. Velocity times fucking 2.
And you teach kids? Get out of here.
What?
I am embarrassed.
What school are you at? I'm going to call tomorrow.
But we're ready for this last segment?
Let's do it.
We don't have a whole lot else to discuss.
Holy shit, there was more?
Yeah.
Thought we ended at chicken.
Vulture, I believe.
It was Vulture.
Or buzzard, maybe?
Buzzard.
It was a bird.
Whatever they serve.
So was a chicken. I'm completely thrown by
it was the
battering
Gooker, guys.
It was the Gooker. That would make more sense.
Right, the Gobbledy Gooker. Anyway.
Yeah, just served with the Gobbledy Gooker. I mean, that is the delicacy in Brisbane, Arizona. So, which I can only assume where this is from. Brother Love Show again, and you have the Ultimate Warrior coming out.
Okay, yeah, I remember
Ike, what are your impressions of the Ultimate Warrior?
I knew who Ultimate Warrior was. To me,
a different dirty kid was wearing his shirt.
Yes. To me, he looks like a. If you put a Bon Jovi impersonator's hair on Carrot Top's body, you have the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
So, yep, buy it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Carrot Top now, right? We're talking about Carrot Top now?
Yeah.
Jack Carrot Top?
Yeah.
Super Jack Carrot Top.
I wish there was like a bigger carrot, like that had a name. Which like there was a term for like, oh, here's like this regular carrot, and then there's like a bigger carrot, like an evolution name for it.
You mean a venti version of Carrot Top?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Top.
Guys. Yeah. It'd be like the macho, like, or what is it, like the 1, 2, 3 kid had to eventually become the 1, 2, 3 man. Like that kind of Carrot Top, he's no longer carrot, he's casserole now.
Casserole.
Yep, it's casserole. Carrot
Why not coleslaw?
Shut the fuck up and get on. Can't you see I'm drowning? Get away from here.
What? What's going on? I just keep pushing you down. I'm just like, I love you, and I push you down.
I'm flailing my arms. I'm flailing around, and you're just like, huh? What are you talking about? Huh?
It's like the end of Titanic. I love you.
Yep. There's room on that door, bitch.
So the guy who had to ask about the battering ram asked another question.
Because there's 2 of them.
The natural progression tells you that the last match is like the big one, right?
Yeah.
So for that, they decided, let's go with Ultimate Warrior beating up the stapler guy from Office Space.
Yes, that's what we decided to do.
They had enough money for Ultimate Warrior, and that was it.
Yeah.
They had enough money for him to destroy some very expensive lights,
Yes,
apparently.
yes.
I mean, I understand tearing the curtain, because you can get a curtain.
They had money until he went off script.
Yes, but breaking those lights, yeah. Which... Was this the end of the Brother Love Show? Like, I feel like this would have been...
It could have been much more after that.
Yeah. Like, it might have been... I want to say that I've heard Bruce Pritchard talk about, like, when we decided to stop doing the Brother Love show, we just had Ultimate Warrior beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that's about right.
The Brother Love show sounds like the generic spin-off from, like, the Ladies' Man segment from SNL.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
was.
It was.
Little known fact.
Little known fact.
Prequel, actually, because this would have come out before that.
Yeah. But actually, it was like, to bring back to Jimmy Swaggart. It was bringing around Bruce Pritchard had this amazing impersonation of like a televangelist preacher, because a lot of that stuff was going on before the Brother Love stuff. So like, really, they thought he does an impersonation. Let's make that a character on our show. We just lost Roddy Piper, so we don't have Piper's Pit anymore. We don't have this interview segment to push along angles. So let's have the Brother Love show. And this is apparently
then Roddy came back.
Roddy came back, and then fuck you, Brother Love. We got Piper's Pit back. And
now you're tied up in your underwear.
But
we learned.
But that's the thing. Is like Ultimate Warrior knocked out trained professional wrestlers with a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Pritchard, not a trained professional wrestler, takes 3 of those clotheslines. Like, the guy who trained me in pro wrestling wrestled the Ultimate Warrior, and because the Ultimate Warrior didn't care how he threw his big steroided up arm at your head, my wrestling trainer, George South, would put his hands up to protect his face from the clothesline, and the Ultimate Warrior yelled at him in the back, like, "Don't put your... why'd you put your hands up for my clothesline? You hurt my arm." To which my trainer, George South, said, "There's nothing that can hurt your arm because you're a monster." And then he would gorilla press guys, and of course when you do gorilla press somebody, you kind of get a hold of their package. But as George described, when he got gorilla pressed by the Ultimate Warrior, he would be so jacked up and tense that he would lift you up, and he would like squeeze really hard on your nutsack. But he would grab. You're supposed to grab around the chest, but he would grab around the throat. So basically, somebody is squeezing your nuts and squeezing your throat. So basically, I just settled that to say that somebody probably had an orgasm from...
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've paid for that.
Yeah, exactly. That costs extra where I come from.
So, but yeah, the Ultimate Warriors beat the shit out of professionals, but he beat the fuck out of somebody who was not trained. And then he had non-professionals stretching him out because he was moving his neck around.
Jostling him.
Which was like always the first thing that when anybody wanted to call out, like, "Oh, this is bullshit," is the first thing that you could always point to is like, "Oh, that segment in a doctor's office, that's not a doctor's office." Then the second thing was always like when they get stretched out, I'm like, "Oh, those are not professionals," because they're just like around the fucking neck.
That's where you needed the yakety sax music, because they were stretching him out.
Anything else to say about that segment?
Right at the beginning of that segment, I paused, I looked at how much time was on the video, and my heart was broken that there would be no Rockin' Robin.
Oh, that's right. No Rockin' Robin. No, not even her brother either, too. Little Jake the Snake on here. Little Grizzly Smith. So, yeah, no connections to Rockin' Robin whatsoever.
Broke my heart.
That's a shame. But anything else we have to say about this video?
We did it.
Did it?
I'm waiting for the funny to kick in.
I'm still waiting, too. Was any of this funny? Like...
The stretcher got me.
Yeah.
I had to
Him
pause
snoring
and laughing. Yeah.
Bobby the Brain Heenan was funny.
Yeah.
But literally nothing else.
Yeah. Like, if they just would have took some of that Bobby the Brain Heenan they put in, like, the Brains and the Brawn video and just put it in here. But, like, it just makes me think, like, 1991 WWF was not funny. At all.
Yeah,
like,
no.
They were starving for comedy. And we did, like, another Funniest Moments one to start this whole Coliseum run. And there wasn't much funny then, and they were pulling from 20 years of stuff. But this is how WWF was trying to compete with, like, NFL's hardest hits.
Yes.
Biggest bloopers in professional baseball. Like, this was their competitor to that, and that's the best they can muster. I think this is the worst Coliseum video of all time.
I appreciate you guys giving this one to me.
I know, right? Is there anything that you saw that you enjoyed greatly, or the overall takeaways from this? Like,
I will never forget the Gobbledy Gooker. Just burned into my retinas.
Much like that child.
Yes, exactly.
Are you that child?
I didn't want to, take the credit.
You want to
for
bring it
but
up?
Yes.
I was gonna say you do have a lot of gray hair. Like, that makes a lot of sense.
This would be about. This could have worked at the time wise.
You could see it starting at the roots and just graying out.
Exactly. And you've been trying to take sleeping pills to fall asleep. Then you became part of the Dream Warriors. And there's the whole time in your life there, like.
That's my backstory.
Here I am.
But anything else? Any other takeaways from any of you, other than what we discussed?
Take it off the network. Take that away.
The worst one.
Yeah.
I mean, but
we say that until we watch a different one.
Exactly.
Well, no, we're back in.
I want to find out what the worst one is. I wonder if it gets any worse than this.
We now have a goal.
I now have a goal to set out and watch some of these Coliseum Home videos to see if there's one worse than this.
Yeah.
There can't be.
Believe
It
so.
can't get any worse than this. This was awful. This was so
Probably
awful.
Funniest Moments Volume 2.
Or like just, why don't you just call it like...
Worst of.
Yeah. Why don't we just call it a really long bushwhacker match, buddy roast squash match, and much, much more of the gobbledygooker. Like, I think that's what you should just call it.
Yeah.
So
It's a good title.
It's a good title. But, gentlemen, we've been talking for this for about 50 minutes.
No, we gotta wrap this shit up.
Which is almost the entire running time of this particular thing. So, anybody that sat through this horribleness, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize to you, Eik Eikenberry. All I can offer you right now is a live microphone. If you want to plug your Twitter handle or anything you're doing or any shows coming up, this is actually going to come out this Thursday. So if you want to let people know about anything, let people know about it. And that's all I can really offer you is a live microphone.
I would take condolences as well.
Okay.
You can find me on Twitter at Ike Spelled Wrong. And I don't know what I've got coming up. I've got a lot of free time, Jake. A lot of free
So
time.
you're saying you're ready to knock out another one, huh?
Oh, let's do it. This has been great. I really appreciate you guys having me.
That sounded sincere. Really. And by the way, Ike is available for acting gigs.
Yeah, exactly.
That promo reel right there, that Oscar-winning performance.
Don't worry,
It's
we'll
always-
get you spots somewhere else.
It's always the most awkward part of doing a podcast or any type of segment is when they're like, oh, now throw it over to you. Tell us what you've got coming up. And I'm like, well, thinking about a yard sale on Saturday.
This was the most exciting thing happening in my life.
This is the only thing on my calendar.
And now that this is done,
Now this is done, I can go back to...
contemplate my own suicide.
Zane, what about yourself?
When does this come out? This week?
It's going to come out this week.
This Saturday, I have AML. We have AML.
We have AML.
It's you and I versus the Extreme Horsemen of Preston Quinn and C.W. Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And then April 13th, I have PWF in Hubert, North Carolina. And April 14th, AML's Future Stars show.
Mm-hmm. But between all of that, we have WrestleCon
Oh, goddamn.
coming up next week, which is
Yeah,
happening
we do.
WrestleMania weekend, all the events, WrestleCon.com. For me, on April 13th, I will be performing at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Public Library. I'll be actually having a comedy show in the basement of the public library in downtown Charlotte.
Man, what's up with books?
Pretty much. And also, too, they'll have beer available at the public library.
Whoa.
So if you've ever wanted to drink and look up the Dewey Decimal System...
I was literally waiting for a pause to work in a Dewey Decimal System joke.
If you're 8 years old and have a nice fake ID.
Listen, I gave you the Louis Anderson.
Exactly.
I got to take the Dewey
Cherry
Decimal
pick.
one.
Cherry pick away.
Exactly.
Tons of beers being offered in alphabetical order.
Listen, we got to pick a roll going here, okay? A nice little pick and roll, much like the Thunder. But those are the things that are coming up in the preview. But also, too, listeners of this podcast, to let you know ahead of time, let's go ahead and put it out there like we're going to do this because it's going to happen. It's probably going to be the next episode. The next episode will be covering the Andre the Giant documentary. We'll be watching that. It's coming out April 10th, and our next episode is coming out a couple days later, so me and Zane are going to watch Andre the Giant documentary as soon as we get back from WrestleMania and WrestleCon, and then immediately report our feelings about it, so that way we don't have a million of our friends going, hey, what were your thoughts on that Andre the Giant documentary? Because that's always my favorite fucking thing to do, is to give my opinions upon pro wrestling that happens in mainstream culture.
Yeah.
So... which is actually why I deny who I am to the karaoke guy at my bar.
We'll let him know.
Yeah, he thinks I'm a completely different person because I don't want him asking my opinions about pro wrestling.
Because you see him so often that you don't want to...
Because he's going to be like, hey, did you see Jumanji? Like, that's the last goddamn thing I want to talk about with a karaoke DJ who drives a PT Cruiser.
That's exactly what I want to talk to. That was a good movie.
That's what I hear. Watch Jumanji. So, we got to always plug something else.
Yeah.
Jake and Zane's picks of the week.
Yeah, Jumanji. I mean, it's only been out for like 3 months, but go check it out.
Kevin Hart needs more money.
Yeah.
So does The Rock.
But some people that need some more love are the people that have wrote reviews. We are still at... at least last time I checked. The only review... The most recent review on iTunes is from Donut. 1978. It is a 5-star review, but it doesn't sound like a 5-star review because it goes... How did these two get a podcast? This goes to show any two idiots with a mic can have a podcast.
Wish you would have used the word chowderhead in there. These two chowderheads.
These two chowderheads. And of course, our lone and most recent review on Stitcher is from KO8 Wrestling, where they say, great show. Jake and Zane are great. Cheap plug for RHPW versus KO8 Wrestling on YouTube. Like I said, these reviews can be plugs for something you're doing that's fantastic, that people would actually want to see, and I will read it every single week until I get a new review on Stitchers or iTunes or wherever. And of course, folks, if I've messed something up, or if you're like, hey, this is not the worst Coliseum Home video, this one is, please tweet me at ManScoutManning or email me at jake@sslshow.com. Make sure you go on to the website, howdidthisgetbooked.com, where you can get How Did This Get Booked t-shirts. Also, my personal merch. I'm actually going to have some new t-shirts up there. My t-shirts are awesome. I'm actually going to be raising the price on all my t-shirts to accommodate for these sweet, sweet t-shirts that will be coming out, hopefully in time for WrestleCon. But definitely by the end of the month, they'll be rolling out. But guys, we really would appreciate you not only leaving a review, but also hitting the subscribe button on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever podcasts are available. Or just, tweet at us, and let us know that we're actually doing it. And also let us know that you're listening, because I question whether or not somebody is.
Because I don't know.
I don't know. Not control of those stats. But anyways, this has been another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo!